Hi there, everybody. It's Amy here, and I'm very excited to be talking about today's book. And it's called Why Has Nobody Told Me This Before? Maybe you've seen it around. It's really about making mental health and practices in therapy more accessible to everybody. So I'm very proud to be sharing this book. Mental health is an extremely important topic and one that none of us should be afraid of. Just as we'd go to the doctor if we were sick or injured, we also do our best to eat good food, get enough sleep, and maybe even take some vitamins to prevent illness and look after our physical health. This is something that we openly talk about, and nobody feels ashamed to say that they take care of their body. But do you think the same can be said for being proud to say that you take care of your mind? Our thoughts, actions, and behaviors also deserve care and sometimes intervention when things are not running smoothly. This is what this book is about. It talks about making mental health a priority in people's lives. All of our psychological well being exists on a spectrum. That is, none of us are perfectly mentally healthy or completely mentally unhealthy. We are all somewhere in between. In this event, take a moment to really consider where you exist on that spectrum at this point in time and what you can do to better maintain your mental health or improve it. The author is Dr. Julie Smith. She's a clinical psychologist, therefore, her advice can truly be trusted. She's making psychological help more accessible for all. Possibly the number one reason as to why people don't go to therapy and or actively invest in their mental health is because maybe they think they're okay as they are. In other words, they're not suffering mentally. However, the author suggests that it's okay to build upon your mental health and resilience, even if you're not unwell or struggling right now. I absolutely love this sentiment. I think that looking after your mindset and how you process emotions should be as normalized as going to the doctor when you have flu or taking vitamins. On that note, do you think you look after your mental health or emotions? This is a question you can just consider or journal. Firstly, it's okay to admit that you're having a problem. Struggling with low moods, anxiety, or feeling really sad are not things that you have to continually deal with all on your own. There are so many tools out there that can help you. You just need to find what works for you, and that might not be strictly therapy, it might not be strictly exercise, it might not be counseling, it could be something spiritual, it could be something related to nature. There's so many things out there that can help. You just need to find that thing that you think is best suited to you. One of the first tips that the author shares with us is one of my favorites because of how practical it is. It applies to many situations. We all have days whereby we're not feeling our best. Maybe we feel a bit lonely because we're alone at home, especially considering when many of us had to be in lockdown during COVID-19. Maybe we feel anxious because something important is coming up or something negative is happening in our lives. Or maybe we feel down for whatever reason. We are just in that mood where we know we're not feeling ourselves. First of all, you could ask yourself, was I looking after myself in the days or hours leading up to this negative state of mind? Is this an emotion or just physical discomfort relating to an unmet need? For example, For example, if you've not eaten for a while and you're feeling anxious, simply making yourself something to eat could easily make you feel better. The author goes further by saying that feeling down is more likely to reflect unmet needs than a brain malfunction. Get practical when you're not feeling like you. What does your body need? It doesn't always have to be related to something in your mind, some heavy emotion. A lot of the time, a negative emotion is a reflection of something very practical that you're not doing for yourself. The author provides some expert advice for when you're The author provides some more expert advice for when you're feeling low or when you're not in the best mood. She says the power of any thought is in how much we buy into it, how much we believe it to be true and meaningful. When we observe our own thought processes in this way, we start to see thoughts for what they are and what they are not. Thoughts are not facts. They are a mix of opinions, judgments, stories, memories, theories, interpretations, and predictions about the future. Just as I've already mentioned, something like a feeling of anxiety can be caused when you have not eaten for a while. If you believe that this feeling of anxiety must be true to some experience that you are facing or that you will face, you can see how you're taking an emotion that only has to do with something as practical and physical as needing to eat as a fact. Our emotions are fickle. In other words, they are often not stable. I'm not saying that we as people can't be stable and calm, but emotions do come and go. You can feel super happy and excited and then see something you dislike, which may immediately make your mood shift. Don't take your emotions as the ultimate truth. Feel them, but don't buy into them. When you're in a low mood, you obviously want to get out of it. However, the act of shifting from a bad mood to a better one is not that simple. As much as I believe in the power of positive thoughts, it may not be enough to change your state of mind. The author shares this piece of advice. The skill of acting opposite to an urge, to instead choose a behavior that is more in line with where you want to go, is a key skill that people learn in therapy. As I said before, emotions do not have to have so much power over you if you don't give it. When you're feeling low in whatever way, try to take a moment to think of another time when you have felt good, confident, or inspired. What actions did you take part in, or what actions are more suited to your goals? In other words, where you want to go. For example, if you're feeling low when you wake up, but you take a moment to think of when you felt like you were in a very good mood, you might remember that you went for a walk when you were in this good mood. You ate a good breakfast and you tick some things off your to-do list. Whilst completing these good mood actions may not completely change your mood, you can see how it's better than staying in bed all day and not getting anything done while eating junk food. Those behaviors might seem like they help you, but ultimately they don't keep you on track to where you want to be. Furthermore, the author suggests that you create a bit of a toolkit for when you're not feeling your best. This does not have to be physical. You can even make a list on the notes on your phone of the things that can lift you. This way you can always have this list easily accessible, and when you're feeling low, you can implement at least one of the things on your list. Some ideas for little things you can do to lift your mood are having a warm drink, tea, coffee, or even hot chocolate. A chat with a trusted friend or loved one. They can either take your mind off of your low mood, or you can work with them to figure out a solution if you need it. Physical movement is also a great way to lift your mood. Remember also that physical movement can be fun and even peaceful. You can go for a relaxing swim. You do not have to run a marathon. Calming music is a great way to reduce nerves, and some happy tunes can also lift your mood. Beautiful images make us feel good. You can find images of nature, flowers, places, and things that you just like. Slow breathing is a great way to reconnect with your body. A scent or perfume you associate with safeness and comfort is also something you can find and use. These are just some ideas of little things that are easy to implement that might help you when you're not feeling your best. The author has some top tips to remember when you're not feeling your happiest. Number 1, have your own back and always have kindness for yourself. In addition, it's about commitment. On top of this, it's about a commitment to yourself that you will always have your own back and do the best by yourself whether or not you succeed or fail. This means embracing self-compassion as a life practice and being your own coach, not your worst critic. The next one is to remember to pair actions with our thoughts, because the way that we start to believe something more positive about ourselves is to use action to create evidence for it. You cannot just think that you are fit and healthy. Back it up by adding some physical movement into your day and making healthier food choices. Another tip that's very helpful but possibly difficult to accept is that the things that give us immediate relief from our fear or anxiety or sadness tend to feed those emotions. Quick fixes are easy and habitual, but they are not helpful in the long run. For example, if someone feels anxious about an upcoming test and they decide to drink alcohol to get some relief, the next day their anxiety may be significantly worse. Something I have not mentioned yet is how we actually get into low moods. There are many reasons that you may not feel your best. Maybe one situation that many of you can relate to is feeling like you've made a mistake or failed in some way, and that the people around you are judging you because of your mistake or failure. The author offers a sense of peace when she says, "How other people respond to my failures does not provide an accurate assessment of my personality and worthiness as a human, but instead indicates how that person relates to failure." This can be explained better if you put yourself in the judge's shoes. If you perceive a failure as very bad or evidence of something like laziness, then if someone around you fails or makes a mistake, you might judge them and call them lazy. This does not reflect the values, goals, or personality of the person who made the mistake. In fact, the judger may not even know that person at all. The judger only has harsh feelings towards In fact, the judge may not even know that person well at all. The judge only has harsh feelings toward the one who made the mistake because they are not comfortable with failure. This is not to say that you should not aim for improvement when you make a mistake. Just don't be concerned about Just don't be concerned about what others people. Just don't be concerned about what others think. Sometimes when we're not in a good place, it's because we have let a negative thought become bigger than it needs to be. We could be worrying about something that is not very realistic, or imagining something that is worse than it actually is. In other words, the worst case scenario. The author suggests that in moments like these, you use this exercise called thought challenging. You'll need a piece of paper and a pen. You'll draw a line down the center of your page to make 2 columns. Like a lawyer weighing up facts, write down a list of all the evidence that the thought, this worst case scenario, is a true fact in the first column. Evidence only counts if it would stand up in court as proper, realistic evidence. In other words, it has to be true and factual. In the second column, list all the evidence that this thought or worst case scenario is not a fact. Let's understand this with an example. Maybe you made a mistake at work and you have this huge worry that you'll get fired. First, you look for realistic evidence that you might get fired for making one mistake. It's tricky to even think of one. Therefore, you may have a better perspective on your problem. Next, write down why your worst case scenario is not a fact. You will probably come up with many things, and this could provide much comfort. It's very practical, and you can simply look at black and white facts that will help you get out of your head and get a different perspective on the things that make you feel anxious. I'm so grateful that this book is out there and available for anyone to read. I think that many people struggle with negative emotions and that we should feel free to talk about it. The key here is that if you talk about it, you may be helped. You do not have to struggle alone. The author is very credible and trustworthy, which makes you want to implement her advice. I highly suggest reading it yourself if you are interested. There's so many more helpful tools that she speaks about, and some of them might relate to you and what you're facing in your life at this point in time. So definitely pick up the book if you relate to any of these things or if you feel that it has merit, and leave any thoughts or comments down below. Thank you so much for your time.